For starters, I like to say, what's up? What's up to everybody, YouTube? I'm finding this video to be funny and somewhat upsetting at the same time. Because yesterday I found myself mourning over the so-called death of my favorite artist / person, XXX Tentacion, fellow Aquarian brother, right? And it really messed my head up that somebody would want to actually kill X randomly when he's a good dude. What he's doing now, right? I shedded a few tears. I'm not gonna lie behind that. But something just told me, right? Because then I just got like this light bulb moment in my mind last night. I'm like, yo, Rod, you're an Aquarius yourself. What would make someone want to kill you? I couldn't even think of nothing. Then I thought to myself, what would make you fake your own death? I literally had to put myself in like his shoes. Then when I began to dig a little deeper, I already was aware of X's cases still being open, and he was actually facing this up and coming trial with the abuse of his I guess his alleged baby's mother. His child on the way. But within that trial, he was facing 60 years. That trial was supposed to take place within these next oncoming 1 month or two. Right. So keep that in the back of your mind. This man was facing 60 years within the next month or two, right? Boom. This shit is just crazy. X had been already previously saying from the top of January, putting out little hints within like the things that he tweeted, the words that he would write about suicide. He put out a song called Suicide. It's titled Suicide, but he's actually saying suicide. Suicide and suicide sound the same because they derive from the same. A suicide is when you actually kill yourself. I'm pretty sure you guys know that. A suicide is a staged death where you leave clues to indicate that you have died. Now, when I actually channeled into like what would push me to do that if I was in his position, because like I said, he's an Aquarius too. So I just really had to put myself in his shoes. If I was facing 60 years in prison, right? Mind you, hold on, before I even get there, he was already jailed. He was jailed. Before anyone knew about X, he was in jail, facing these felony charges already, right? So while he's in jail, the name behind, let me take that back. The topic behind this case begun to blow up out of proportion, where you got people arguing back and forth. Oh, X deserved this. Oh, no, he didn't deserve, blah, blah, blah. But in between, they're listening to his music, right? So he's gaining fans while he's locked up, not even realizing that you gonna come home to a whole nother fame. He wasn't supposed to come home right away. He didn't even know he was coming home, right? So this happened when he got out is when Drake allegedly stole one of his songs and kind of remixed it, put a spin on it. So it got back to X, and they wanted to know X's viewpoint on that. That's when the world began to know who XXX Tentacion is. This guy that's going against Drake, saying that Drake stole something from him, blah, blah, blah. Right, okay. So, fast forward. The only reason why X was allowed out of prison by the music industry, by the secret society, was because His offering was, once they seen that he had so much control over the youth, over the mass of the youth, they were like, yo, we're going to use this dude to our advantage, right? Not even realizing, they don't understand. X he was not willing with the shits. I don't know what he agreed to initially getting out of prison, but after some time, we all begun to see itself, X become a whole nother person. Strictly positivity. They even got to a point where they removed his music off of SoundCloud. Meanwhile, SoundCloud is what got him popping. They removed his music off of SoundCloud, labeling it explicit content, derogatory. None of his music was explicit nor derogatory. But because he was not following the guidelines of what they wanted him to do, what did he do? What did they do? Remove his music. Boom. Alright, he started doing a little bit of what they wanted to do. They put his rights back on SoundCloud, So now you start seeing him go through these emotional changes. He shave his eyebrows and all that, because now he's really fighting inner demons. Aside of them cases, now he done picked up some whole other shit with the music industry, because now the music industry want him to promote a side of himself that is not really always him. Yeah, everybody gets mad here and there. Everybody do dumb shit. But this is what they wanted him to be. That's not who he wanted to be. He continued doing what he done. Making his music, blah, 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 blah. They gave X a time limit. They said, listen, look here, nigga. We getting tired of you. You not no longer do what the fuck you want to do. This is why his name was coming up in all of these random cases. You not about to do what you want to do. And since you don't want to do what the fuck we told you to do, we about to throw your black ass back in jail. And as a matter of fact, you're gonna get acquitted. You're gonna be charged with all 17 of them felonies, and you're gonna do them 60 years. Either that or completely wipe your fucking face off this whole industry point. We don't want to see nor hear from you ever again. And that was his deal. Excuse me. So, with that being his deal, to the average motherfucker, I mean, look, you tell a nigga, I'm about to give you 60 years in prison because you're not doing what the fuck I told you to do. Or, nigga, you dead. You become another motherfucker and move somewhere else because I don't ever want to see you again. And I don't ever want to hear about you again. That nigga is going to be living somewhere else, nigga, new name Jose, with a beard this long. That's a fact. That's a fact. Nigga ain't about to do them 60 years. Niggas don't want to be behind them walls. That's a fact. So, after doing all that research, I've just really pieced all of them clues together. Not to mention, right, there was no blood on the scene, right? Oh, wow. Where X's car was backed up at, right? It's an opening gate that opens up, right? His car is parked the total opposite direction, as if it was just chilling there. Right, okay. The guy that they interviewed two guys in the scene. One guy said, I heard one shot, and he's laughing. When have you ever seen that? When I tell you this shit was a hoax beyond recognition, and it was something that was noticeable from a mile away. Like, if you really actually go back into X's material, as far as the song Suicide that he put out, that was called Suicide, where he actually is already depicting. He got a song he put out called I Spoke to the Devil in Miami. He got killed in Miami. I'm telling y'all, from an Aquarius perspective, if he thinks anything like what the average Aquarian thinks, if you put a nigga in the fucking space like that, boy, I'm telling you, I would do the same thing that he did. This is why it's so easy for me to understand why he did that. It's unfortunate because we won't ever hear no music from this nigga again. We won't ever hear shit from him again. Why? Because technically he is dead to us. But is he actually physically dead? No. So for all of those people that's out there surfacing pictures that are old, and not only that, we're in the history of murderers. Have you ever seen a murderer kill someone, Then get on Instagram and piece together the clues for the actual how could I say, for the spectators and onlookers to put together. Now, his killers, the ones that drove off in the SUV and the Chevy, whatever the fuck they saying, got on Instagram and put the tag location where they were at and show how far that they were from where X was at the motorsports, and how quick it was possible for them to. In what world does a killer do that? In one where a nigga staged to death and somebody got to take the fall. And you know why they don't mind taking that fall? Because they going to get paid for it at the end of the day. That nigga going to break bread with them. They're going to get at least 50 bands just for doing some shit like that. Come to the average little hood nigga, you know what I'm saying? 50 bands for him to act like he killed you. You know what I'm saying? And keep in mind, you got something called crisis actors. Everyone involved in that whole scene was a fucking crisis actor. Everyone. I don't give a fuck who it was, down to the motherfucking sheriff. Sheriffs, cops do not pronounce bodies dead. You cannot do that. The hospital does that. The ambulance does that. You did not see the ambulance on the scene. You seen the cops there without the ambulance, and they said that he was pronounced dead, no pulse. Meanwhile, keep in mind, X just dropped an album called No Pulse. Man, listen. I don't give a fuck what y'all want to believe, but one thing I ain't never been is a dummy. And I always been that nigga to read between the lines and find out some shit that I was not supposed to find out. Always. And it's so crazy. And I think God wanted me to find this out because he knew I was genuinely hurt over the fact that I thought someone murdered X. And he had to give me some kind of confirmation and let me know this ain't what you think. This is not what you think, my son.